Hi guys, you're welcome back to the channel today. My name is Lady Peace. So in my previous video, I shared with you guys how to go about the drafting of this very beautiful cup. So if you haven't seen that video yet, I will advise you go check it out and then come back for this and let's sew this together. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please hit on the subscribe button and don't forget to share this video to your friends and loved ones, okay? So guys, I'm going ahead to cut out my fabrics on all the pattern paper here. I also went ahead to cut out lining pieces for this. So these are all the my fabrics here. So remember I told you guys that my pattern paper wasn't enough, so I'll be adding extra inches when cutting this out on my fabric. So for this center front, I went ahead to add about, this is about 5 inch. 3 inches is going to serve as my actual length, while I'll be cutting off 2 inches. So for the side front, I added about 2 inch, 2.5 inch, and half inch is going to serve as a stitching allowance. So these are all the fabrics here. I went ahead to add stitching allowance to all the patterns here, just like this. And then now these are the back patterns. Remember when cutting this, your fabric should be on fold. So I'm going to go over to my iron and iron my head stay to all of the pieces. So guys, I'm done and this is how it looks. This, see what my iron did to my fabric. At this point I was already angry, but I thank God that it didn't burn through my fabric. So these are the fabrics I had here. I'm going to go ahead and place these cups right side facing each other like this. At this point you need to be extra careful because you don't want to place the wrong side to the wrong side, okay? So I'm going to place it this way and also pin this down with about half inch, and after then I'll take this to my sewing machine and stitch this down with about half inch, and when I'm done I'll come back and show you guys what I had. Okay guys, I'm done stitching this down. As you can see now, this is what this iron did again for the second time. I was already mad, like I didn't know what to do, and I was even confused. I didn't even know what I was doing anymore. So I went ahead to place the center front just like this. I was extra careful because I don't want this iron to bond my fabric, because I don't really know. So I was supposed to place like a fabric under this material before ironing this down, but because I was already angry, I didn't know what to do. So please go ahead and place your fabric down here before you iron this to your fabric like this. So at this point, this is where I realized that I didn't put anything under the stable here. So I went ahead to bring my material like this and then place it up this way and iron this. So this is how it's supposed to be. So you can see I'm struggling with this iron. I don't know, I just need to go and get another iron. Yes, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll just get another iron for this. So guys, I'm done stitching this down, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to notch this part here just like this. Please, when notching this part, be careful so that you don't cut through your stitches, okay? I will just notch this part this way like this, and I will also do same for this other part like this. At this point I'm angry because, like I said, this is what iron did to me. See how it's making my work look very rough, but I'm happy because it didn't burn my actual fabric. So go ahead and cut through like this, and after then when you turn it over to the right side, you see that it relaxed very well. So these are the side fronts. I will just go ahead, and this is also my center front. I'll just go ahead and remove all the pins, and this is how it looks. I'll also remove the pins for this other side and also the pattern paper. So this is how it's looking. I'll just go ahead and keep my cups aside for now, and then I'm going to place this other side like this, right side facing each other, and then I'll pin this down just like this. Make sure when pinning this down, it aligns. I will pin this down like this, and I'll go over to my sewing machine and stitch this down with about half inch. I'm going to go ahead and do same for this other side. Pin this down. Make sure you are pinning from the up like this, and then I'll pin this other part here, and then I'll stitch this down with 1/2 inch. So guys, when I open this up, this is how it's looking. You can see that the center front is longer than the sides. This is how it's supposed to be. This is how yours should be, okay? So I'm done stitching the sides. As you can see, I stitched the both sides with about 1/2 inch. So this is how it's looking. And now these are my cups. In case you didn't understand what I did for the first side, I said you should notch this other part. I'm going to repeat this. Notch this other part like this, so that when you turn this over to the right side, it will relax perfectly. Even without ironing this, it will relax perfectly. Go ahead and notch this part like this, and then also the same for this other cup like this. And after then, when you are done, you're going to notch this other side here, the side front and the center front that you stitch together. Notch them like this. Make sure you are careful so that you don't cut through your stitches. Notch all the sides like this, and when you are done with this side, you turn over to this other side and also notch this part too. And after then, when you are done, take this to your ironing table and iron all the seams opened, okay? So when I'm done, I will just go over and iron this out, and I will show you guys what it looks like, okay? So guys, I'm done ironing this out, and this is how it looks. I will turn this over like this and show you guys. This is how it looks here. Now the next thing I'm going to do is, these are patterns here. I'm going to cut through this other side like this. Just go ahead and cut through this other part like this, and after then you realize we have about 2 cups here. Now I will take, you see we have 2 cups here, so I'm now going to bring my wording. This is also known as padded, depending on how you call this, but I call this wording. I'm going to place my wording this way, and then place my pattern just like this, and cut this out. When cutting this out, make sure you don't add stitching allowance. Make sure you don't add allowance to this. Just cut exactly on how it is, okay? And I will cut this out and also cut out the second one. Okay guys, so I'm done cutting this out, as you can see. Now I'm going to go ahead and place this side. Please, when placing this, make sure you don't place the wrong side to the right side. Make sure you place this right side, okay? So I'll just go ahead and place back my patterns just like this. So just to know which side I'm supposed to work with, so I'm going to place this to this way, and then go over to my machine and stitch this down with my zigzag stitch. Now, if you don't have your zigzag stitch with you, you can go ahead and use your needle to stitch it. So I've gone ahead to stitch this down as it is, and also my machine was somehow misbehaving. I just had to manage what I had here. And I have this, my tailor's ham here, which I made for myself. It's quite funny. I think I didn't do it very well. So I'm going to place this inside here, and also place the other cup inside this other parts like this. And then I'll now introduce this wonderful tailor's ham that I created for myself. So this is how it looks. Make sure you iron your seam this way. Don't iron it flat on the surface just like that. I'll place it like this and then iron this out just like this. So guys, this is the most interesting part that I know all of you have been waiting for. So I've gone ahead to place my cups one side, and these are my center front and the side front. So to have that effect on the front, like you see on the blouse here, I'm going to place my ruler like this from my waistline. Make sure it's from your waistline. So this is why I said you should add extra inches to your fabric whenever you are cutting this out. Whatever measurement you have, make sure you add extra inches to this, because we'll be cutting off this other part. So I'm going to place my ruler like this and create a point straight like this to meet my center front like this. Make sure you take it down to this other point where you see me placing my ruler. This way I will just draw a straight line like this, and after then I'm going to use my ruler to cut this off. So this is why I said you have to add extra inches. Now I'm not cutting directly on the line, so I'm cutting about ½ inch away just like this. So just go ahead and cut off these other parts like this. So when I'm done, you see how it's looking very nice. You can see the effect on the center parts like this. So this is how to go about the zip back waistline, or whatever you guys call it. I don't know how to call it very well. Now the blouse we are working with, you know, it has this bias on the center part alone, but I decided to make mine a little bit colorful. So I'm going to place, first of all, place a bias tape here, and also place this on the center part like this, and then I'll cut it off. And I'll also place a third one on where I stitch my side front to the center front. That's where I'm placing the both side. I'm going to place this other parts like this, and after then I'll go over to my machine and stitch this down. I'll cut off this excess here. I'll go over to my machine and stitch this down. And then I'm going to still go over to my machine and stitch down my darts on my back pattern. Now if you don't know where to stitch your dart, go ahead and place your pattern paper to it, and then notch the parts where you are supposed to stitch the darts, and then go over to your machine and stitch down the darts on it just like this. So this is what I had after I was done. I'm done stitching down this other part, and you can see how beautiful this is looking. I also went ahead to stitch down my darts on my sides, on the back paper and my back fabric just like this. So I'm going to keep that aside and then work with this. So you see how beautiful this is looking already. Now I'm going to now bring my cups this way. I'm going to place this other part. So this is how it's going to be. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over like this, and then use my pins to pin this round just like this. Make sure you place them, let them align together. Go ahead and place them like this and pin them down. Now this can be a little bit difficult, but don't worry, just go ahead and make sure you place them to align with each other like this, just like I'm doing. I'll just go ahead and pin through till it gets to the other end, and then I'll also do same for the other cup. So when I turn this, you see how it's looking already, even without stitching it. It's already looking very beautiful. So I'll continue pinning this down until I get to the other point, just like this. When I get to this point, I'm going to pin this part down like this, and also pin it to the end like this. So you see how beautiful it's looking already. I'm going to go ahead and turn this other part like this, and also do same thing to this side. See how neatly it's looking. I'll also pin down this other part and then head over to my machine and stitch this down with 1/2 inch. So this is what I had after I was done stitching this out. You can see how lovely this is looking already. Now that's my crazy iron. See what it did to this other part again. Although it wasn't really obvious, so I don't have to work with it like that. That iron cannot just ruin my day for nothing. So guys, this is how beautiful this is looking already. You can see the cups well placed. This part is really getting me angry, but I don't want to be angry because my blouse is already looking very beautiful. As you can see, it's looking very nice and I actually love the way it came out. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to place back my back side like this. Oh, I've gone ahead to stitch down the dart, so I'll just place it like this and I'll go to my machine and stitch this down with about 1.5 inch allowance. So this is it after I was done stitching this down. You can see how beautiful it's looking. So this is where I stitched down my darts. See how nicely it's looking. Now this is not transparent because of the fabric I'm working with, but it's actually looking very nice. So these are the front side, the center front, and this is the other side here. So I went ahead to also stitch down my darts on this other point here, as you can see. So this is how it's looking already. This is where I stitched down my sides. So I'll just go ahead and place my lining pieces. So I also went ahead to do same thing to all my lining pieces, just like this. So I'll just place it like this, right side facing each other. Guys, please take note of the parts I'm going to be stitching down. So for this part here, I'm going to go over to my machine, stitch down this part like this. I won't be stitching the upper part, no. And after then, I'll come down and stitch down like this till it gets to this other point here. I'll stitch it down like this, come up to this other part here, stitch it up here. I'm not going to be stitching this up here. Then I'll come down again, stitch down through this way like this, stitch up here like this. I'm going to also stitch this part. I won't be stitching this other up part here, please. Then I'll come down again, stitch this other part like this, stitch it through to this other way like this. I'll still come up here and stitch here. I'm not going to be stitching this part, and then stitch to this other end. So this is it after I was done stitching this down. I went ahead to stitch this down with about 1/2 inch. You can see how it's looking already. So like I told you, I didn't stitch this other part here. No, I didn't stitch this part. So I'll just go ahead and open this up like this. Now I'm going to turn this other side to the right side, sorry. I'll just turn it to the right side just like this, and I'll do same for all the sleeves. I'll just go ahead and turn this all to the right side. So this is how it's looking. I've not even ironed this yet and it's already looking very nice. When you do this well, it actually comes out very nice. So this is how it's looking. This is how the front side is looking. Now the next thing I'll do is I'm going to go over to my machine and then turned my lining to the other side just like this. So when I turn it over like this, I'm going to go and stitch this down. Please be careful not to stitch on the sleeves. Just place it this way. I'll stitch from that point down to this other point here with 1/2 inch. I'll stitch all these parts like this, stitch all these parts. Make sure you align this together when you are doing this. Make sure you align this, stitch here through to the other part here, but I'll be leaving about 2 inch or 3 inch space so that when I'm done stitching this, I can turn this over to the right side. So put this inside like this. and then stitch down this other part here. So I'll be leaving about 3 inches here to turn this to the right side. And when I'm done, I'll go over to my iron and iron this out, and also fix my zipper to this. So guys, this is what I had after I was done. You can see how lovely this is looking. Now you see this shoulder point here. You can decide to cut this off if you don't want it, but I decided to make use of mine. Now see how pointed the bazu is looking like. So you see how beautiful this is looking. Remember these points that my iron burnt down. Kai, see my curves, see how beautiful it's looking. I'm going to post this picture again when I put it on my body on my short video so that you see it. So see this point here that I was complaining about. Although when I put this on, it's going to it's not looking rough because it's very hard to see. So this is how the bag looks like. You see how beautiful it's looking. For this bag, you can also decide to make yours longer if you don't like the way this is looking, but I prefer to go with this. And this is how it's looking after all. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video till the end. Please subscribe to my channel and also share this video to your loved ones, your friends. Please guys, thank you, and please engage on this video, comment on my video, okay?